Hi, I'm Bill Sanders. I'm here in my garage with a couple of my old man toys. Over here I've got my 1960 Austin Healey that I bought new. And this Chevy K10 4x4, it's a 1973, it was the first project truck I did when I was editor of Four Wheeler. Last year I decided to fix it up a little because it had been sitting so long. So we built the engine and put in a comp cam and roller rockers. When we built the truck, we used KC lights, and Vic Hickey wanted to bolt on products he made, like the bed roll bar and the grill guard. I bet Vic is upstairs looking down at us, probably in the Baja boot with Steve McQueen. In 1967, I was at Peterson Publishing. That's where I first knew Sal. I was an editor at Motor Trend, and he was in ad sales for the magazines, so I saw a lot of him then. It was also in 1967 that Ed Perlman and Don Francisco decided to form an off-road race company called Nora. And they had their first Mexican 1000 that year, 67. And they had a press party and lunch at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City. So while I was at Motor Trend, I decided to go on over there. And it was really interesting because I hadn't been that much into off-road. They had a lot of pictures of people in their buggies, and it was really funny to me because a lot of guys were entering who had never been to Baja. And I always remember one guy from Northern California asked Ed if the service stations in Baja took credit cards. It didn't get a lot of laughs then because there were a lot of people who hadn't been to Baja, but I think it's really funny now, at the time when there were only a few miles of paved road. So in 1972, I left Motor Trend, where I was senior editor, went to Four Wheeler magazine, took over as editor, and I was editor for probably 18, 19 years. So in the next few minutes, I'll show you how my career at Four Wheeler magazine turned out and how it intertwined with off-road racing. This was my first race truck. It's a 1972 Jeep, and we only ran it in the 72 1000. My co-driver was Susie Mann. A lot of you may remember her. The Jeep was built by Brian Chichua. And this is a shot of our Jeep CJ7 that Bill Stropp built for us in 1979. This was taken at the Parker 400, the first race of the year, and my co-driver in that race was our good friend Gene Calvin. We always used BF Goodrich tires with this truck. This is a picture of me in the truck at the Mint 400 in 1979. These are pictures of me driving solo in the Jeep CJ7 at the 1979 Mexicali 250. Again, this is the Jeep CJ7 in 1979. This is during the Baja 1000 that year. The last race we ran with this vehicle, and we finished fourth after Rod Hall, Roger Mears, and Gail Pike. Those three guys all got trophies. We got a little plaque. This is at the 1979 Riverside Celebrity Race put on by Mickey Thompson. I was assigned Patrick Duffy, the actor, to show him how to drive off-road. We went around the course a couple of times, and he said he thought he might need a boxer's mouthpiece to protect his teeth. This is a picture of the Nora certificate I received from Ed Perlman and Don Francisco. They both signed it. I don't remember what year it was, but I've treasured it ever since. This is a picture of me at one of the score banquets during the 70s, where big hair was in style and wide lapels. And here I am again presenting an award to Bill Stropp. And in the picture you can see Sal and Linda Vaughn. This is a copy of the Score newspaper from sometime during the 70s when I was made Journalist of the Month. Mickey Thompson and Malcolm Smith in a rare moment shaking hands. This is from an early pre-run in the early 1970s when we always stopped at the giant cactus to take pictures. This is a picture of a sedan during a race, this is the sedan class. If you can look closely, you'll see that the driver is Rod Hall, which no one would have ever suspected. In 1975 and 1976, the Mint Hotel management gave every entry in the Mint 400 a bottle of Jim Beam in these beautiful boxes. This is a poster of the Mexican 1000 in 1971 that was promoted by Ed Perlman and Don Francisco. As usual, the course went from Ensenada to La Paz, and it was run in November, as they always have been. At the bottom you can see some of the driver entries, and you can also see where the checkpoints were. We're here today at the Spectre Off-Road Museum in Chatsworth, California. Our race truck was rescued by Marv Spector many years ago, and that's why it's still around. This is the truck that we won the 1000 in 1973. It was painted red at the time, but it had been converted to propane for the articles to see how you could get better gas mileage. So when it was done, the testing, Norm Lean, who was the Vice President General Manager at Toyota at the time, called me and said, "Do you want to run that Land Cruiser in the Baja 1000?" And I said, "Yeah." So Walt Lott, who was the chief steward of the 73 1000, said we could run propane and we needed a turbocharger to get some power, so he approved that. So we had Ack Miller build a turbo and put that on the engine, and we had Manchester Tank build 2 big tanks that fit in the bed for the propane. And my good friend Pete Springer, who was co-driver and builder, built the entire truck from stock. He built a fantastic suspension. He built this entire roll cage. Everything you see on here that's not stock, Pete built. And we always use Desert Dog tires from Dick Seepeck. And we chose Taylor off-road racing seats because everybody at that time in off-road racing used Taylor seats. During the race, Rodney Hall and Jim Fricker were the odds-on favorite to win. So we took off from the starting line in Ensenada, and in the middle of the night we came on a giant hill that was all chewed up. Rod and Fricker were at the bottom in their Bronco. They had broken trying to get up the hill, and the hill was littered with Baja bugs and buggies that had all broken. So we put the trusty cruiser in low range 4-wheel drive and just walked right up the hill, and we were sailing from then on. And we got to La Paz and we found out that we had won the race. I still have the finishing times on a sheet from 1973, and it shows that we finished in 26 hours, and Rod and Fricker finished in 35 hours. So luckily they broke. This is the trophy we won for winning Class 3, the stock four-wheel drive. Everybody who won their class won one of these trophies. I finally got it from Toyota, and I gave it to Marv Spector to take care of and keep it with the truck. And it's been here at the Spector Land Cruiser Museum ever since. It took a long time to get paid because a Mexican group had taken over from Ed Perlman, and they were running the race through the Baja Sports Committee. This is a copy of the check we received from Mexico after we won. As you can see, it's for $900. I think we didn't get it until about 6 months after the race. And a few years ago, Bob Bauer reminded me that we were the very first race team to win the 1000 with a Toyota vehicle. After that race, we converted it back to gasoline, and we started running the truck with Lewis Off-Road Enterprises in Acton, California, owned by Bob Lewis. And his colors were yellow and blue. That's why the truck is now yellow and blue. So we continued racing through 1976 in the Mint 400 and some of the races around Jean, Nevada, the Baja 500. And here I am after the Land Cruiser broke. I'm talking to Steve Mizell, who also raced a Toyota Land Cruiser. We never re-entered the 1000, we just ran it in other races. So that's my story, and I'm really proud to have made my career with Four Wheeler Magazine and have been a part of the history of off-road racing.